Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week I wanted to talk about falling off the wagon, which is something I kind of done recently. For those who aren't familiar, falling off the wagon is basically falling into old habits. Usually it's referenced with like drinking or like other kind of vices, but in my case right now, it's kind of falling out of the habit of tracking my progress, or using Trello or something like that. And I feel that it's just important to talk about this because it's easy to like fall off the wagon. It's easy to break your habits, your good habits. And I think that it's also something that you need to be very careful on how you react to that. Because very recently I discovered that I had fallen out of those habits. And instead of getting mad at myself, which is kind of the first reaction, it's like, oh, Ben, why'd you do this again? Like you're better than this, et cetera, et cetera. It's more about finding ways to get back into the swing of those habits. And a lot of the time that requires baby steps where, like I have my Trello boards all planned out and I realized I stopped looking at them. April was kind of rough for me, and early May as well. And part of that's due to allergies and depression and a bunch of other random stuff. You can tell I still have allergies. I'm really stuffed up today. But there's just a lot of things that you need to keep in mind with this stuff. And once you realize that you've kind of broken your habits, you have to, first of all, be gentle with yourself and be like, hey, it's okay. You know, this happens. You're only human. But beyond that, it's finding the steps that you need to take to recover where you were and get back to a place where you're happy with the work that you're doing. And, you know, that can take time. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just something that you need to be aware of, and you need to be very kind to yourself, because I feel that some people find that moment of weakness in themselves and they beat themselves up over it. And that is generally what causes you to spiral. And then, you know, you feel bad about yourself. So you stray further from where you want to be because you're like beating yourself up over it. And that's just a really bad, circle of events. And, you know, I've definitely been there, and I'm sure most of you have been as well. And it's very easy to fall into that cycle, but, let's talk about getting out of it instead. And I think one of the best things you can do is baby steps, which is to say very small, incremental steps back towards your goal and your good habits. And in my case, I'm mostly just trying to get back into writing a daily to-do list, looking at my Trello board, seeing if there's anything I can prune for like next month or the month after that even. And just trying to figure out where I want to be with a lot of this stuff. Because otherwise, like, there's no real way for me to get back into all this. I have to start somewhere. And if I'm going to start somewhere, I'm going to start small. And that's okay. You know, it happens. And a lot of stuff has happened over the last, really a lot of stuff has happened over the last year and a half, but specifically the last couple months have been very tumultuous for a lot of different reasons. There's been a lot of projects going on. I feel like I'm kind of overextending with the OST jam and the 2-hour album challenge and stuff like that. That is, I'm realizing now that doing the 2-hour album challenge is fine because that's just a weekend, but then jumping right into the OST jam for me, that's like 2 whole weeks, and suddenly that eats up an entire month for me. And I need to figure out how to reconcile that and how to roll that into my daily life. And maybe that means I don't do all the OST jams, or I'm much less ambitious with the OST jams, because I really do like the game jams. They're a ton of fun. So it's kind of figuring out that kind of stuff too. So there's a lot of things that need to be sorted out on my end. But part of that process is just, taking it one step at a time and not trying to overload myself. So, yeah, if you have fallen off the wagon and if you have kind of broken your good habits, it's okay. You have my permission and it's okay to take a breather and understand that things happen and you're only human, and that's okay. And next thing you should do is try to sit down and maybe write out a couple steps as to how you can get back to the way things were if you were happy with that. Like, some good habits don't necessarily vibe with whatever you're working on. And it's entirely possible that the good habits you had aren't the ones that are proactive in the long run. So it's good to keep that in mind too. Like there was a really good habit I had a long time ago, like in 2016 or something, when I was doing something where I was trying to release a new video on YouTube every day. Whether that was like Let's Play videos or music or something. And I had very good habits. I had like a big calendar that I was working off of. I had everything planned ahead. But in the long run, I realized that YouTube in that context wasn't really what I wanted to do. I wanted to focus on longer form videos like streaming and all that other stuff. So like, it's entirely possible that your good habits aren't the ones that support what your creative goals are. So, and again, it's just sitting down and either writing things out or giving it a good think, So I hope this was helpful. I really think that it's valuable to understand this kind of stuff. So yeah, I hope you have a fantastic... That's not the order I do it. Thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you in the next one. Be remarkable.